An algorithm looks at a map. It draws a red box around a city block. It tells police something is going to happen here. Not a suspect. Not a crime that's already occurred. A prediction. One major investigation found these predictions were actually correct less than 1% of the time in many of the places using them. Cities are still using them anyway. Predictive policing sounds like science fiction, and in a way, it started as exactly that. The core pitch: crime isn't random. It clusters in patterns, the same way earthquakes or disease outbreaks do. Feed a computer enough historical crime data, the theory goes, and it can flag where the next incident is statistically likely to happen before it happens. That pitch was compelling enough that by the mid-2010s, dozens of U.S. police departments had bought in. The most widely used tool was a company called PredPol. PredPol didn't predict people. It predicted places, generating daily lists of specific city blocks flagged as high risk, based on the location and timing of past reported crimes. Police would then patrol those blocks more heavily than others. The markup, an investigative journalism outlet focused on technology, obtained and analyzed over 5.9 million crime predictions generated by PredPol across 38 jurisdictions in the U.S. What they found: in the median jurisdiction studied, PredPol's predictions matched an actual reported crime less than 1% of the time. And the blocks it flagged were disproportionately in neighborhoods with larger Black and Latino populations, regardless of that neighborhood's actual crime rate, compared to wealthier, wider areas nearby. In other words, not just inaccurate. Inaccurate in a specific, racially patterned direction. PredPol predicted places. A separate, more controversial approach tried predicting people directly. In 2012, the Chicago Police Department built something called the Strategic Subjects List. Everyone who worked around it just called it the Heat List. The idea: assign every flagged individual a risk score from 0 to over 500 based on factors like prior arrests and their social network's involvement in violence, to identify who was statistically most likely to be involved in a shooting, either as a shooter or a victim. By its first year, more than 1,400 people had been placed on the list. Some of them had never been arrested for anything violent in their lives. The program ran for 7 years. In 2019, it was shut down entirely after independent investigations concluded it was inaccurate, ineffective, and racially biased. Around the same time Chicago was running its Heat List, it also deployed a different piece of technology, one that didn't predict crime directly, but fed the same predictive systems with a constant stream of new data. ShotSpotter, a network of acoustic sensors positioned across neighborhoods, designed to detect the sound of gunfire and instantly alert police to its exact location, dispatching officers before anyone even calls 911. In 2023, the MacArthur Justice Center analyzed 21 months of ShotSpotter deployments in Chicago and found the system had generated over 40,000 dead-end police deployments, incidents where officers were sent, at high intensity, expecting gunfire, and found no evidence of any gun crime at all. The vast majority of those deployments were concentrated almost exclusively in Black and Latino neighborhoods. In March 2021, a ShotSpotter alert sent police into an alley in Chicago's Little Village neighborhood. Officers ended up fatally shooting a 13-year-old named Adam Toledo. The incident intensified public opposition to the technology across the city. By September 2024, Chicago ended its ShotSpotter contract entirely. This pattern isn't unique to American cities. London runs something called the Gangs Matrix, a database that scores individuals, some as young as 12, on their perceived risk of gang-related violence. Amnesty International's 2018 investigation into the Matrix found that 78% of the people listed on it were Black, despite the Metropolitan Police's own data attributing only around 27% of serious youth violence in London to Black suspects. a 3 times overrepresentation baked directly into a supposedly neutral risk scoring system. And this bias problem isn't limited to policing itself. It shows up just as clearly one step further down the justice system, in decisions about who gets released and who doesn't. In 2016, ProPublica investigated a tool called Compass, used across U.S. courts to score defendants on their likelihood of reoffending, a score judges could use to help decide bail, sentencing, and parole. Their analysis found that Black defendants who did not reoffend were nearly twice as likely to be incorrectly flagged as high risk compared to white defendants who didn't reoffend. Meanwhile, white defendants who did go on to reoffend were more often incorrectly scored as low risk than Black defendants who did the same. Same tool. Same data categories. Opposite errors, sorted almost perfectly along racial lines. So why does this keep happening across completely different tools in completely different cities? Because these systems don't predict crime. They predict policing. Every one of these algorithms is trained on historical arrest and patrol data, not on crime that actually occurred, but on crime that was recorded by officers in neighborhoods that were already being patrolled more heavily. If a neighborhood was over-policed in the past, the data reflects more arrests there, regardless of whether the underlying crime rate was actually higher. Feed that data into an algorithm, and it learns to recommend exactly what already happened. Patrol that same neighborhood even more. It's not predicting the future. It's automating the past, including all of the past's existing bias, and presenting the result with the appearance of neutral, data-driven objectivity. This has already started reaching courtrooms directly. Multiple cities, including Santa Cruz and New Orleans, have passed outright bans on predictive policing tools. Seattle passed an ordinance in 2020 specifically citing equity concerns. Oakland, California banned predictive policing software outright in 2020. The ACLU has pursued transparency lawsuits against police departments, including the LAPD, arguing residents have a right to know when an algorithm, not a human judgment call, is shaping how heavily their block gets patrolled. So if not this, then what? Criminologists studying this space increasingly point toward a different model entirely: community-based violence intervention, funding social workers and community organizations to work directly with people at genuinely elevated risk, rather than an opaque algorithm silently scoring an entire neighborhood. Some jurisdictions have also started requiring full public transparency and independent audits of any algorithm before it's allowed to influence policing decisions at all, closing the black box problem that let tools like PredPol and the Heat List operate for years with almost no external accountability. None of this means data has no place in public safety. It means a prediction built from biased history will keep reproducing that same bias, no matter how sophisticated the algorithm running it looks. An algorithm drawing a red box on a map isn't seeing the future. It's reading back exactly where officers have always been sent and confidently recommending we keep sending them there. If that changes how you think about the phrase data-driven policing, that's exactly the right reaction to have. Subscribe for more deep dives into the algorithms quietly shaping decisions most people never see. And tell me in the comments, should cities be allowed to use predictive policing at all, or should it be banned outright?